Welcome back to another video. Now today I want to talk about Uncharted. Now Uncharted is a massive franchise and I really enjoy this series, and I don't know many PlayStation gamers who have played Uncharted and have something negative to say about it. Most people have a very positive opinion of this game franchise as a whole, and today I want to talk about every single game and I want to rank them from great masterpieces to somewhere in the middle of being a masterpiece to good. I think all of the Uncharted games are all incredibly great games on some level, but what I want to do today is I want to talk about those games from 2021 perspective, and I want to talk about whether or not they actually hold up against the test of time and whether or not they're still great games to play today, because some games that you played in the PlayStation 3 don't hold up quite as well as you remember them when you try and think back with your member berries. So before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get on with the video. Okay, so before we go any further, yes, I have had a haircut. For those who are regular viewers, you may have seen, usually of late, I've had some very long man bun style hair. Well, the man bun has perished. It was time to get a haircut. And now moving on with the actual video. So here we have the 6 Uncharted games that came out on PlayStation 4, 3 and PlayStation Vita. They're all the game consoles that are actually available on the moment. And here we have the tier system we're going to be using: masterpiece, great, good, okay / bad, and haven't played yet. Now this is not my tier, I have taken this from somebody else. The link for the tier will be down below, but you know, I was going to make it myself anyway, and I just thought I might as well just use this one. This guy's already made them, alright? So now, I love Uncharted. I have to say this. I think it's a great linear story. You know, it took like the Tomb Raider and the Indiana Jones sort of idea of treasure hunting and action and combined it into these amazing game series. Now, the only thing about Uncharted is it does suffer from narrative dissonance. Now, what is narrative dissonance, you may be wondering? It is the idea that the gameplay doesn't directly match the story of the game. And by this I mean that, you know, you're playing this fun-loving Nathan Drake who's out to seek adventure, and he ends up killing thousands of people through his life, through his time, through his adventures, and it's kind of, you know, it doesn't really fit with this fun-loving, carefree character. Like Indiana Jones is a little bit more serious, and even still, he doesn't kill anywhere near as many people that Nathan Drake kills, and when he does do it, it's kind of like more mainly self-defense, and he might fight a few people but doesn't kill them, whereas Uncharted, there's a lot of neck snapping, coming from behind, stealth killing, snapping necks, kicking people off cliffs, just killing people in massively cold blood, whereas Indiana Jones doesn't really do that in the films anyway. And when you know that, it does kind of take it away. I think for me, when I was a bit younger, playing Uncharted 1 to 3, it didn't bother me that much, but playing Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, it definitely felt a bit jarring, and I think it definitely does suffer. I think if you think about it too much, then it kind of does suffer from this narrative dissonance. If you just try and take it from what it is, which is a fun-loving action game, then you'll enjoy it anyway. I mean, this doesn't just discredit the game as a series. It just kind of, when you know it's there, you kind of think, should Nathan Drake be killing all these men? Is it really worth this treasure, killing like 1,000 men? I don't know. But anyway, okay, so the order I want to talk about them is I want to talk about Uncharted 1, 2, then Golden Abyss, then Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4, and Uncharted 5. I think that's the order they came out, or Golden Abyss might have come out just after Uncharted 1. But nonetheless, Uncharted 1. So, this is the first story of Nathan Drake. You know, there's going to be spoilers in this video, guys. If you haven't played all these games, I would encourage you to do so. I will try and keep it as spoiler-free as possible. But to be honest, that might not be possible, because Uncharted 1 introduces you to Nathan Drake, this fun-loving adventure hunter, him and his mentor Sully, and they've got some amazing chemistry. Let's just be honest, in all of these games which has Nathan and Sully in, their chemistry is probably the best part of the whole series, and you get plenty of that in Uncharted 1. And I think it's pretty good. I think for the time, the combat was amazing, and I don't think it's an over-exaggeration to say for the time the combat was amazing. Today, it still holds up pretty well. I think on the harder difficulties, it's too hard. Now, there's a few dodgy set pieces in this game. So what was Uncharted with the first game? What was it? It was a third-person shooter, a bit of climbing, a bit of exploration and platforming, and a bit of like jet skiing stuff in between, and with a story about treasure hunting. My criticism of the Uncharted games is it's an Indiana Jones movie into a game every single time, and we've got 6 of them now, and it's the same story every time. And this is what annoys me with Uncharted. Nathan finds a treasure, or finds the secret to get where he needs to go. The bad guy turns up at the same time, takes it, and then he goes there as well, and then Nathan follows him, and then they fight at the end. Or in some other way, shape, and form, it involves always the villains coming in and taking what Nathan Drake's done and then trying to beat him to the prize. It's kind of, after you get the 6th game, you kind of think, okay, this is kind of getting a bit samey. But the first game, it was the first one, and I think now, even now, the gameplay is still pretty fun. I played this game, I didn't platinum this game, but I played this game in 2018, and I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed this game. I think it's pretty darn great, and my only like downside would be the ending. So I'm not going to spoil it, but Uncharted is, Drake's Fortune is the only one that has like a supernatural elements. And if you know what it is, you know it's to do with the Nazi bunkers at the end. And the way it works out, I just don't like it. I just felt like the rest of the series took a step away from that sort of like that, you know, that supernatural element. I think it benefited massively for it. So because of that, I kind of didn't like it. But on the whole, it's a really good game, and I'm going to say as far as it's actually a great game. So I think Uncharted Drake's Fortune will land in the great section. Now, I'm going to say, to be honest, anything that's good or higher is worth playing. Now, I've played all of these games, so we've only got 4 sections. Masterpiece, great, good, okay, / bad. Now, masterpieces and great should fall into the... You should play them. If you like linear stories, you're going to enjoy them. If you in a masterpiece, it doesn't matter. If you don't... A masterpiece should be a game that, even if you don't like the genre, you'll still have a really good time with the game. And I think great is, if you already enjoy it, you're going to have a really fun time. Good is, if you got a bit of spare time and you see it on sale, pick it up. And then obviously, okay, bad is, don't play. Next we have Uncharted 4. Now, Uncharted 2. Great maths. Next we have Uncharted 2. Now this game was pretty amazing, let's be honest. It introduced a lot of set pieces, and I think the set pieces it introduced, it just took what Uncharted 1 had and just rolled with it and made it so much better. We met Chloe, Elena was back in it, and you know, a good cast, a really good strong cast with, of course, with Sully, and I think it takes you all over the world. To be honest, there's not I don't want to say too much, but Uncharted 2 is a masterpiece. I think Uncharted 2 is a fantastic game. It's easily a 9 or a 10 out of 10. In my opinion, the masterpieces are 9 or out of 10 or higher. Greats are probably 7 to 8, no, an 8 out of 10. Goods are 7s, and then okay and bad, so 6 and 10 out or worse. And yeah, for me, Uncharted 2 is amazing. Like, come on, the train section. We all know how good the train section was. If you played it, you know how good that section was. It just took everything that Uncharted did and just made it so much better. And there's no supernatural elements, which meant that, for me personally, it made me enjoy it so much more. Okay, Golden Abyss. I didn't like this game, I have to say. So, for the PlayStation Vita, the PlayStation Vita is quite a powerful console. And it's a great console, I just have to say. But... And this is a good Uncharted game for the Vita. This is kind of where it's hard to say, because I think getting the Uncharted game onto the PlayStation Vita is worthy of respect and applaud. Because it's a really complicated game, you know, it's not an easy game to make. However, it's not a good story, it drags out, and they use terrible PlayStation Vita controls, which make certain parts of the game really difficult. So let's start with the story. So, my issue with this game is, there's 35 chapters, so if you played an Uncharted game, you know that most Uncharted games are only about 25 chapters, so this game is 35, and it'll take you about 25 to 30 hours to finish, and yeah, a lot of the chapters are really short, but nonetheless, it introduces, the side character is a woman called Chase. She's not likeable at all, she's not a good character, and Sully's only in it for like 5-6 chapters. This is a prequel to Uncharted 1, and Sully's not even in it. That's my biggest gripe, is the fact that the best character, the best bromance is Sully and Nate, and you just don't get to see it at all, other than 6 chapters. And there's a lot of, like, the villains are really slimy. It's about, like, you know, some sort of stereotypical general of some Middle Eastern country, and it isn't great, it isn't fun. And then they have this really annoying, like, this swipe button on the PlayStation Vita because we're trying to use the touch screens. You have to, like, sort of do the boss battles with your swipes, and it's like a button sequence element where you have to, like, press square, triangle, slide up, slide like down and across. And it was really frustrating. And on Crushing, which you have to finish the game on Crushing, you don't even get a single chance. If you one failure, you have to start the whole fight again. And there's 2 fights in the game which are really hard, and they're about 12 minutes long, 15 minutes long, and you get like 9 minutes in and you'll fail. So I think it took me like 2 hours to finish the last boss, just going, oh, failed, reset, I failed, reset. And because of that, I didn't enjoy it, and the Platinum Trophy is not fun either. All in all, it's not a great game, it's not even a good game. I'm going to have to go as far as say I think Uncharted Golden Abyss is an okay / bad game. Now let me get it straight, okay? Let me just get this out there. If you've only got a PlayStation Vita, it's worth playing. if you're going to be going on a long distance journey and you're only going to have your PlayStation Vita with you for a month's time, it's worth playing. But if you have a Vita, have a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and you know you're looking for games to play, I wouldn't recommend this game. I don't think it's a good addition to the Uncharted series. The only time I think it's worth playing is if you were kind of in some situation where you only had your PlayStation Vita, because for a PlayStation Vita game, it's pretty good, but the bar for PlayStation Vita games is so much lower than PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. Okay, next is Uncharted 3. A bit of a dip in quality from the second one, I have to say. Definitely as good as the first one. I didn't like the ending again. I like the flashbacks with Nate as a kid. They're really good, but they do this thing at the end where, you know, if you know what to do, they tease something and then just sort of don't deliver on it, and it's all like, ooh, you're daydreaming, Nate, don't worry about it. And it's just, the story falls flat. There's not really good villains in it. And there's a good set piece with the plane. It's a bit unrealistic, but the game is pretty unrealistic. I like that with the plane in the desert. That's a really, really good section. And when I think back of actual gameplay and memory, that part sticks pretty strong with me. I just don't think the characters, the cast, are as good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's still a great game. So I think Uncharted 3 is going to land itself in the great section. Still worth playing. I think the whole trilogy, the first trilogy, is worth playing. However, this comes out on Uncharted 4, and I think Uncharted 4, unlike the first 3, which, to be fair, all these games are standalone adventures, but I think Uncharted 4 stands alone the best, or as good as this and Lost Legacy both stand alone as amazing, amazing stories. And this leaves us on Uncharted 4, the first one on the PlayStation 4. What a game. What a game this truly is. I think it's, firstly, it came out in 2015, it still looks amazing for its time. Like, you know, it's 6 years old, it looks so good. Great story. It's the first one to introduce semi-open world areas, like with a boat and stuff, and it's beautiful. It's a great game. The combat is phenomenal. The stealth sections are great. Loads of set pieces. I can't sing the praises of Uncharted 4 enough, and it's a great end to Nathan Drake's story. Uncharted 4 for me is a must play. You should really play this game. I think it's my second favourite game of the series. And I know there's a bit of criticism of Sam. People are like, oh, you know, that's the issue with certain stories when they just, rather than build up rapport and relationships between two characters, they just introduce a long lost family member. Oh, long lost family member, we're best friends. I thought you were dead. Blah blah blah. And that there's criticism of that, but I didn't mind Sam. You know, I didn't love the story that he did, but all in all, I think it's a pretty great story, and a story about two brothers and then Sully and Elena. It's amazing. And then that finally leaves us with Uncharted Lost Legacy. Chloe Nadine from Uncharted 4, Chloe Fraser from Uncharted 2 and 3. That was a criticism of Uncharted 4, why Chloe wasn't in it. This game follows Chloe. You play as Chloe as you go through, I think it's India, looking for treasures. And it's pretty amazing again. I loved this game. This was meant to be like a DLC that ended up being a standalone game. It's the shortest Uncharted game by far. I think it's only got like 15 chapters. You can finish it in about 8 hours. It's fantastic. Again, just like Uncharted 4, it is absolutely fantastic. It has a massive open world section as well. You kind of have to go in and like open these 4 levers, but it's like open. It's like probably like a mile squared, and just do it at your own pace. Go wherever you want. There's enemies on the map. It's fantastic, and it actually sets the way and it paves the way for Last of Us Part 2. In Last of Us Part 2, you go to an open city in Seattle, and you can go in every single city, every single village, every single store. It's fantastic, and Uncharted Lost Legacy paved the way for that. Chloe's an amazing character. So glad to see her back. So glad to see her on PlayStation 4 as well, because most characters on PlayStation 3 looked very washed out, very plain and bland. But on the PlayStation 4, they really looked human, and Chloe looks amazing in this, and so does Nadine. And I like Nadine quite a lot on it, and I love her accent. I love Nadine's accent. It is so good. It's Kiwi, isn't it? New Zealand. She's got a fantastic accent in this as well. Uncharted Lost Legacy for me is a masterpiece. So there you have it, guys. There is my ranking for the Uncharted games. If I was to rank them as from best to worst, the best is going to be Lost Legacy, I think, is the best. Then Uncharted 4, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 1, Uncharted 3, and then Golden Abyss, all the way at the bottom. Okay guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you have access to this. If you would like me to see how you've ranked the Uncharted games, there's 2 ways you can do it. Firstly, in Discord we have a section where you can share your tiers in that Discord page, and I'll see it, or you can tweet me. Just take a screenshot, tweet me. I think I'd rather you did it on Twitter, because that way I won't get as jumbled down and lost in the conversation on the Discord. And I hope you've enjoyed this video of me just casually having a bit of a chat about one of my favourite series of all time. I do really love Uncharted. It's a shame that it's kind of come to an end, but you know, all good things have to come to an end eventually, and I really enjoyed my time in the stories told through Uncharted by Naughty Dog. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.